Good afternoon, everyone. It's great to be back in Riyadh at this fabulous event in this amazing room. We've got 4 expert panelists from different parts of the media world. Our subject today is how can partnerships between regional and global media enhance the local media economy? My name is Josh Bassett. I'm an advisor to the content licensing firm Nordot, and I was previously global head of partnerships at Bloomberg Media. I'm joined on stage by Neda Al-Mubarak, managing director of SRMG Think, an independent research advisory firm. At the far end, by Ataullah Tara, Pakistan's Minister for Information and Broadcasting, National Heritage and Culture. Next to him, Yuliana Slashchova, chairman of SMF Animation, the biggest and oldest animation studio in Russia. And by Alistair Lewis, the CEO of FIP, the International Media Association, whose mission is connecting global media. So I wanted to start really for you guys to introduce yourselves and your companies, perhaps with a sort of short elevator pitch, telling us what you do. So Neda, why don't you start?
All right. Thank you, Josh, and thank you to the organizers for putting on and hosting this fantastic event. Josh, SRMG Think is part of the Saudi Research and Media Group. It's the largest media conglomerate in the region. We have 26 media outlets as part of the group, many of which are household media names that we grew up with. And I'm sure they're quite familiar to many people here. Part of the strategy a few years ago that was launched at the group, there was a decision to expand, to grow, and so we saw the establishment of what we call pillars, and this is sort of a comprehensive value chain to working with partners and working with clients. And the value chain starts with SRMG Think, and I have the privilege of managing this team. And we have several other entities that we work with, our sister entities, whether it's a creative agency, a training agency, a production agency, and the list goes on. But SRMG Think focuses on 3 main things. One is thought leadership. So we do plenty of research around issues that are relevant to the region, whether it's around geopolitics, macroeconomics, energy, sustainability. We also capitalize on that skill set to do policy and research advisory. And most recently, we launched a communication advisory arm as well.
Okay, so Alistair, connecting global media, what does that mean?
Good question. Well, I'll tell you a little bit about FIP. First of all, I would just like to thank the organizers as well for inviting me to the Kingdom for my very first visit to Saudi Arabia, and I'm absolutely delighted to be here and be with you all today. I am the CEO of FIP, the International Federation of Periodical Publishers, and as you say, Josh, our mission is to connect global media. We are 100 years old this year as an association. And in fact, we were set up 100 years ago by some of the founding fathers of the, at that time, European magazine publishing industry as a way to share best practice, to share learning, and to connect and look for opportunities to grow their businesses locally. And you know what? That's exactly what we continue to do today. And we do that in a variety of ways for our member companies through content that we produce on our website and newsletters, but also through events. And for me, connecting global media at events just like this one at the Saudi Media Forum is about networking. It's about creating opportunities and introductions, and essentially to helping our businesses, our member businesses, to grow their businesses through extensions, through partnerships, through joint ventures, and operating outside of their home market. So, it's a really important mission and something that publishers and media owners have been doing in a variety of ways for many years. And it'll be really interesting to think about how we can bring some of that to this region and increase that going forward.
So Juliana, what about SMF?
Thank you, Josh. Thank you, the organizers, for inviting me. As Josh already mentioned, SMF Animation is the biggest and the oldest studio in Russia. We are 90 years old. And many of our animated films rank among the classic of world animation. We developed very fast, especially in the last 10 years, when kids and family became a real trend, not only in Russia but worldwide. So we do a lot of international projects. Our content is sold in more than 100 countries worldwide. And today, SMF Animation is not just an animation studio as it was created 90 years ago. It's a 360 kids and family media holding, embracing all the segments of kids and family entertainment and delivering safe and high-quality content across all the platforms and channels. We produce animated series and films, live action for family and kids. We have our own pay TV channel and theme parks and kids club franchise. And the studio have preserved the tradition of the past because of such a long history, but looks confidently in the future, and our future is in co-production with many other countries, including the Saudi. And during the last year, it's my first visit to Saudi, and I really love the country, and I truly believe in the potential of the co-production of the kids' animation here. Thank you.
And Minister, what's your primary focus in your various roles?
Thank you, Josh. It's an absolute pleasure being here in the kingdom to witness this historic transformation that is going on. And seeing is believing. When you come to the kingdom, you realize the Vision 2030, it's just not a vision, but it's being implemented on the ground. So I think it's just great transformation that has been done by His Royal Highness the Crown Prince. My various roles as Minister for Information and Culture, our focus is on a vibrant media, a media which is in line with the modern trends, a media which has all its aspects covered as far as the digital domain is concerned. So my Ministry of Information deals with electronic media, print media, digital media, and along with it, I deal with the cultural aspect as well. So I come from a land of 240 million people, and we have 180 million people online in our country. And we have a vibrant young population. More than 60% of our population is under the age of 30. So we're a people of the Indus Valley civilization, an old civilization. We're a people based on the banks and tributaries of the mighty river Indus. And we have a good story to tell. We are not only a very vibrant and resilient people, we are home to the second highest peak in the world, the K2 mountain. So I think as far as Pakistan is concerned, our primary focus is on a vibrant media, an advanced media, a modern media, which not only raises awareness on social issues, but gives people an opportunity to air their voices and, coupled with that, to recognize talent and to recognize skill. That's most important.
Well, so Neda, the minister there referenced the changes that are going on here in Saudi Arabia. You know, one part of that is developing a media hub, and this is obviously central to that. You know, how do you see the status of that at the moment? You know, how are things going? What's needed at the moment, do you see?
Yeah, honestly, I think Saudi Arabia is already well on its way to becoming a media hub. I mean, if you think back to 10 years ago, who would have thought that the #1 listened to podcast would be a Saudi homegrown podcast? We have Thamania, that's, you know, if you haven't listened or tuned in, I recommend it. But a lot has been happening over the past few years, and I think it's important for us to think about the entire value chain. A lot of times when people think about media, they get fixated on content. Content is absolutely important. I mean, having relevant content, having content that's being pushed out on a regular basis is quite important, but it doesn't stop there. You need to think about production. You need to think about people and, you know, talent development. You need to think about distribution, about regulations, about monitoring, and the need to continuously evolve. So, you know, at SRMG, our experience has been we've looked at that entire value chain, and in order for us to continue to be a leader in the media sector, we've had to do a lot across all of this. So, for example, on content, we've looked at different partnerships that could help us expand our growth. So we launched Ash-Sharq for Business in collaboration with Bloomberg. So that helped us not only with our content, but also with our reach. We also looked at, from a production perspective, we looked at state-of-the-art production. We launched SRMG Studios that focuses on this top quality production. With distribution, it's the same. With human capacity building, it's the same. We launched SRMG Academy, that is the pure mandate of SRMG Academy is upskilling in the media sector. So we're taking this very seriously, not just for ourselves, but also in how we work with our partners and clients.
Alistair, are many of your members looking at this region? What do you think partnerships with them can bring to Saudi Arabia?
Well, I think absolutely many of our members are looking at this region for expansion, both for their own, through their own owned and operated businesses and you know, the attraction of Saudi Arabia as a media hub in that way, as a reference, but also looking for partners, looking for partnerships to make the kind of license agreements, joint venture partnerships or syndication agreements in order to enable global brands to reach local audiences in a way that suits and fits the local market. So, you know, it's always really important, I believe, to have really strong local representation, really strong local partners who can deliver, if you like, the global brand and content, but in a way that is absolutely in line with the local audience.
Juliana, we spoke behind the set and you told me it was your 4th visit in a year, so you must be pretty active in Saudi Arabia in this region. I know you're looking to collaborate with local producers. You know, what would a collaboration look like for SMF?
Actually, we've been developing in the Middle East and Northern Africa for the last 3 years quite actively. We started from United Arab Emirates because they were the most motivating and attracting creative industries, and we started in Abu Dhabi, creating a company there 3 years ago. And then after that, we started traveling to Saudi, seeing how the country is developing and how this trend for kids and families is becoming more and more active. Our activities cover distribution of content to all the channels and platforms. We also do some dedicated events, and we do a lot of digital promotion for our activities and content. And now we are present on all the main kids channels in the region, such as Shahid, MBC, Majid TV, Abu Dhabi Media, Spacetoon, 1001, and other platforms. We're also looking for the co-production and for the local partners. As Alistair already said, the same relates to us as to the publishing industry. If you want to do a great project, will be very well anticipated on the territory, you need to find local partners and you need to co-produce. So the crucial for us for this year would be to find the partners to collaborate with, to co-develop and co-create projects which have the local flavor, but international ambitions. Because animation is made to travel worldwide. When it's well done and well dubbed, you can never say in what country the animation film was produced. And it gives you animation and this universal language that can be used for all kids and families all over the world. And that's what we're seeking. The Saudi Arabia has a lot of good stories, great stories to convey. We can help with the creators and producers who already had experience in conveying not only Russian stories worldwide, but also international stories. Through our big collaboration with French producers Cyber Group, which is one of the biggest and leading producing companies in animation in France, we've learned a lot of what and how to cooperate and co-produce, and now we would like to expand that experience here. And we are succeeding. We are talking to a couple of local companies and MBC Group as a big media group here and the others about creating and getting together one first pilot project for co-production.
And Minister, how about Pakistan? Can you give us a sort of high-level understanding of media in your country? I know also that Neda's company, SRMG, has several operations there, so you must have multiple international partnerships. How's that working within the sort of Pakistani ecosystem?
I think it's collaborations and cooperation which make the world go round. You see, living in one country and not being able to communicate or collaborate would just bring things to a grinding halt, because eventually your market begins to saturate. So there's always room for growth, there's always room for development, and there's always room for improvement, as they say. So with regard to SRMG, we have Urdu News, we have Arab News, we have Independent Urdu, which are doing a great job. And not only the digital platforms, but overall, they have a very positive impact on our society with regard to raising awareness on social issues, with regard to bringing news to the people. So I believe collaborations need to be improved further. Because you see, the local media needs skill development. The local media needs more growth. The local media needs more capacity enhancement. So I believe that hand-holding from global partners can bring a paradigm change in the local media organizations. So my policy as the Minister for Information is that we will promote these collaborations further. So not only our human resource can benefit, we have the greatest talent in the world. Did you know that in Pakistan, we have an Oscar Award winner, Sharmeen Obaid Chinoy? She won the Oscar, she won the Emmy, and she made a wonderful documentary. That's one brilliant woman I'm naming. Secondly, we have a Nobel Prize winner, Malala Yousafzai. She's an education activist. Third, we have Samina Baig. She's the only woman who has climbed the 7 highest peaks of the world, including Everest and K2. So, you know, these kind of stories need to go out to the world. That's the kind of talent we have. And I've just named 3 brilliant women from Pakistan who've made us proud. And there's a story in Saudi Arabia that I would like to mention and make special mention of. So we had an individual named Farman, a Pakistani living in Saudi Arabia. During the floods, back in the year, he saves 4 lives and dies while saving the 5th Saudi national here. So, you know, he's a local hero. These stories need to be told of selfless sacrifice, of talent, of recognition, of reaching new heights. So, we have the talent in Pakistan. We have the greatest human resource. We have a young, budding population, which is really great and resilient. What we need is more international partners, more collaborations, which can help us groom that talent, which can help us reach that technological advancement on our different platforms to help us grow. Because you see, we have very good news channels, we have entertainment channels, we have filmmaking, we have documentaries, we have everything. What we need is more collaborations, more international partners, which can not only help the local media economy to grow, but which can make us reach our true potential. So I think we're looking forward to further collaborations. And this is now the land of opportunities. They're hosting the 2034 FIFA World Cup. We're hosting the Cricket Champions Trophy right now as we speak. So I think it's a great meeting of the minds. And this is a platform, and I'm grateful for this opportunity on the Saudi Media Forum. This is a platform where we can collaborate further. We can reach new agreements, new collaborations. And in this global market, we can make our mark and we can make our people realize that they can reach somewhere with proper resources and proper management and proper capacity development. So I'm a firm believer in that, and I look forward to future collaborations and further collaborations so that we can make a difference. Because you see, there are certain common human objectives and goals that we need to reach. There's awareness that needs to be raised. There are issues, global issues, which need to be highlighted. And you see, I would also like to mention, as far as collaborations are concerned, sometimes in our news, we don't get the true picture. As far as the issue of Gaza is concerned, we need to have proper awareness of what's going on the ground, what's the situation like, so that people can know what atrocities are going on there and what kind of humanitarian help the people of Gaza need. So I think it's a very overarching sort of subject, but with the international collaborations, the sky is the limit, and we in Pakistan are ready to reach the skies.
Thank you. And Neda, I mean, you talked about some of the partnerships that you have established here as SRMG. I'm personally very familiar with the Bloomberg one. I'm just wondering what SRMG's experience has been of these kind of partnerships and how you feel that relationship has been, and also the impact that they're having in Saudi Arabia.
So we launched our strategy back in 2021. And back then, the focus was on expanding our reach, expanding our portfolio, and expanding our partnerships, because the partnerships will really help us along the way. So with the media landscape that's changing extremely rapidly, we knew that we needed to work on all of these fronts in order for us to continue to be a leader in our sector. So we looked at, going digital, for example, and embracing innovation. So with some of our platforms, we said we would either shift purely to digital or we would add a digital component. So that was one part. And again, with the partnerships, like you mentioned, our partnership with Bloomberg. Today, Bloomberg, or Sharq for Business, is the fastest growing digital and social media platform in Arabic. So in just the past 4 years, they were able to really make a dent. But the partnership with Bloomberg is not the only partnership we've worked on. We have several, and I can just name a couple maybe. We have a partnership with Warner Brothers Discovery on this to cater to that group of an audience. We also recently launched a partnership with Billboard to launch Billboard Arabia. This is in the music sector, spotlighting Arabic music talent and filling a gap there. So one might think, why would the largest media conglomerate in the region need to partner with others? I mean, we have, a 2,000 plus strong editorial team. But again, it doesn't just stop at the content. We do certainly need to work on a win-win situation, like the minister was saying. If this is going to be a partnership, it has to work for everyone that's involved. So we need to look at what our strengths are. We need to look at where our gaps are and find someone that can help us and complement where we are. Whether that's about, spreading a regional knowledge. We have plenty of beautiful stories, and we want to tell our stories from the region. So who's the optimal partner to help us with that? In terms of knowledge transfer, there's always room for improvement. So what kind of, whether it's around technology, whether it's around capabilities, but what are we able to work on with these partners? And of course, last but not least, reach. We have, I think the last number I saw was around 200 million, the reach of SRMG today. Every time I look at the number, it goes up. But again, what partner can help us expand our reach beyond where we are today? So the way we look at it is we have to make sure that we're continuing to grow and that we're also offering a growth opportunity for our partner.
Juliana, we talked before about establishing partnerships. I know you've done it in other parts of the world and are looking to do it here. What do you think makes a good partnership? I'm assuming there are kind of cultural differences, audience differences that need to be taken into account. But what makes a good one in your mind?
We truly believe that a good partnership is made by combining efforts and strengths, and then we can create a content that will be a big hit in many countries if several partners are being involved. But you're right, every country is different, and there are different cultures and different traditions and values. And some countries have certain restrictions that needs to be taken in mind when you create a content, especially kids content. There will always be one or two top focus markets when we create content, or for example, an animation series or a feature film. But knowing the red flags of other territories can help us create the project that can be safely shown and will be also attractive for much more markets rather than where they were created. So for us, good partnership is the desire to do something together, is the ability of creative teams to cooperate, because it's also very important, and then the wide-minded partners who will want to create something which is attractive for local market, but will be having a global potential. That is important, because what was the problem in the Middle East, not the problem, but it was the approach in the Middle East which we were facing when we started traveling 3 or 4 years ago, is that everybody was doing only very, very local content that was impossible to sell somewhere else. Even in Russia, we truly tried, but it was impossible because all the approaches to the content were very, very traditional. We totally support conveying the local culture and the local values in the content, but it should be created for being international because, as I already said, kids' content should travel. If to speak about Russia and Middle East, we share similar values. Traditional family values are very similar. Kids and family content in our countries should work very well. That is why our content from SMF Animation was so popular and was sold, as I said, to all the main platforms and kids channels here. So for partnership, you need to keep in mind the peculiarities of the territory and the values and traditions of your partner. And if you respect it, then you can create a good project together. For example, now we have currently we have a partnership with the Arabic company. They are from initially from UAE. They are called Spacetoon, and we create a Ramadan special. They're from Saudi. We create a Ramadan special, the cartoon which will be showed to the kids during the Ramadan, explaining to them why certain traditions of Ramadan are in place. And that is something that can actually make our cultures much, much closer, because when we show it in Russia, where they don't know about Ramadan, they will learn about the culture, traditions, and values of the other countries. So that could be an example of how the good partnerships and effective partnerships could be created.
And Minister, are you keen to encourage these kind of partnerships in Pakistan? I mean, you know, developing a media center also increases the scrutiny on your government, of course. Is that a concern?
I think as far as collaborations are concerned, the more international collaborations we have, the more we will realize our potential, the more we will go forward. So I think international outlets are most welcome to come to Pakistan and partner with our local media outlets. And I think we already have so many collaborations, but we need more collaborations. The more we have, the more the merrier. So I don't think that's a concern. There is a concern, of course, regarding false information and misinformation in this day and age. You know, the World Economic Forum report, when world leaders were asked, what's the biggest threat and challenge of our time? They did not say nuclear war. They did not say climate change. They did not say health hazards. They said fake information is the biggest threat of our time and biggest challenge. So, you know, I would like to see a world where we have an international organization or an international media outlet where all countries are member states, and you have a system of fact check where you can check information through artificial intelligence, through intelligent means of information technology, and maybe all countries can agree to that, because you see, fake information spreads faster than awareness on social issues. So that's a challenge which I think we all need to sit down and discuss. We all need to find a solution to this challenge. Having said that, on social media, there are certain algorithms. So if you post about Gaza, you post about Palestine, you will see those things just withering away. You will see your likes decreasing. You will see your visibility diminish. So I think the use of social media, the use of artificial intelligence needs to be fair and just for all the people of the world. It cannot be just tilted towards one side. So I think we need a fair system, but we need a very comprehensive system of fact check, which is authentic, which is credible, which people can rely on. So I think that's something that I would like to see happen. But having said that, we're open for collaborations. We're open for global media partners to come to Pakistan and collaborate with our local media partners. And I think it will encourage transparency. It will bring in an element of merit, and we would like to encourage that in our government.
And Alistair, you've established a lot of collaborations around the world. What would your, what do you think makes a good partnership, and what would your advice be to, potential Saudi partners? I'm assuming joining FIP would be the first step.
Well,
but,
definitely.
What else?
Well, I think, first of all, I would actually just want to reiterate the points that Juliana made and that the Minister made, because I could not agree more with so much of what they're both saying about collaboration, what makes good partnerships, what is important in a partnership. Actually, from a media perspective, to answer your question, I actually would not want to miss the opportunity to stress how important I believe it is to really understand your audience first. So in terms of what makes a good partnership for me, first and foremost, both sides have to have a really clear understanding of the audience, a really clear understanding of what the value proposition is going to be that this new launch or new product or new collaboration is going to bring to that audience. And if you start from that position and you share values and you come at it in a positive way together, then I think you're going to have a really good partnership. In terms of looking at opportunities, FIP, yes, FIP is I like to describe my role at FIP as being a kind of a concierge. My role is to open doors, to enable those introductions and those partnerships to happen. And we are lacking in members from this region, which is remiss of us, which is one of the reasons why it's really important and a great honor for me to be here. But I would love to work more closely with more companies, both in Saudi Arabia and also in Pakistan, Minister, in order to establish some of those collaborations and create the opportunities to do that. And by joining FIP, and most importantly, by coming to what I think will be an event almost as good as this one, obviously not quite, but in October, I would encourage anybody to mark your diaries the 21st of October to come to the wonderful city of Madrid in Spain, where FIP will be hosting its World Media Congress. And that would be a good place to start in terms of making those connections.
And Neda, maybe I'll finish with you. What about the sort of the current and the future? We talked a bit about the kind of ambitions here in Saudi. How do you see the development here in Saudi going forward with Vision 2030 and the sort of place of these kind of partnerships in that? It feels like an exciting time.
Absolutely. It is absolutely an exciting time. And I think, with Vision 2030, so much has happened across so many different sectors. And media is no exception to that. So I think there's plenty going on. You have so many different players now, understanding the value, understanding and appreciating the potential. The resources are there, and I don't just mean financial resources. I mean, the resources are there for people to go out and try and venture out and partner, cooperate, meet and discuss. So the sky's the limit. And, again, compared to where we were 10 years ago, look at where we are today. I mean, can you just imagine where we're going to be 10 years from now? And considering the young population that we have in Saudi and how savvy they are with their mobiles and media consumption and the changing media habits. So I can't even imagine what's coming next.
Sounds like an exciting future. Thank you very much to my panelists, Minister Ataullah Tarar, Juliana Slashchova, Alistair Lewis, and Neda Al Mubarak. Thank you very much to everyone.